It's 2023 and you're finally thinking about travel nursing, but you're wondering if you've missed the boat. I don't know. Is $48,000 in 13 weeks missing the boat? You tell me. Whew. It's been a long day at work, but I am happy that you are ready to sit down with me and talk about getting started with travel nursing in 2023. I want you to take a minute and really think about that. $48,000 in just 13 weeks. That's like a quarter of the year. And this is a real contract. These aren't made up numbers. You can go on Atlas MedStaff's website right now. This is a job that they have in Oakland, California. It's 12 hours, day shift, 3 days a week. That's it. It's not a 48-hour contract. It's just a standard 3 days a week. That's 4 days off, $48,000. That's more than half of the salary that a lot of staff nurses make in an entire year. My name is John. I've been a nurse now for a little over 14 years, and I've been doing this travel gig now for 5. I've been doing it pre-COVID, during COVID, and now post-COVID, and I do it all with my family. We live in a big RV that we call Dorothy and travel all over the United States taking contracts. If you were worried if you missed the boat, I'll be honest, there was some really crazy rates out there during. It also sucked working them. The job was hard. Everybody was pulling overtime. It was exhausting. Everyone was dying. It was a difficult time, and it led to more burnout than ever before. Maybe you did work during that time, and that's why you're thinking about doing this now. It's a great time to still jump into it. If you're wondering where the money's made, I've got the top 3 states for you and the lowest 3 states. Top 3, California. It's probably always going to be number 1. There is a huge nursing shortage because of all of the population, and they are willing to pay for it. It's California. Why not? As of 2023, Massachusetts is actually paying quite a bit of money right now. There's contracts, again, on Atlas's website that you can find for $3,400 a week. It's anything on the East Coast, to be honest. And finally, Washington is another great place to go right now in 2023. They're still paying out really good rates, typically over $3,000 a week. The lowest states? Well, Florida, $1,500 a week. Follow right behind with Arkansas and Louisiana, right around $1,800. There's a lot of states where that 1,800 mark is. The funny thing is, most of your border states are generally going to pay higher rates than the internal part of the country, the exception of Florida and Louisiana. These rates that I'm quoting are specifically for ICU. That's what I do. That's what I look up. Just like in the hospital, the rates are going to depend upon the acuity of care. So if you want the highest rates, the specialties that are calling for them are things like ICU, emergency department, OR, things that are considered critical care, and then followed by acute care, PCU, those kind of things. Then med-surg generally has the lower rates. I've seen a lot of comments where people are like, oh, I couldn't be a travel nurse because I couldn't live off of $18 an hour. People that say stuff like that don't understand how travel nurses make their money. The travel nurse pay is always stated in a weekly package. It's going to tell you how much you're going to make per week as a travel nurse, not hourly. Because of those stipends, they have housing, they have per diem, they even have travel, things like that. It all comes out to per week, this is how much you're going to make. Again, per week, not every other week like a staff nurse. Travel nursing, by far, has been one of the best things I have ever done with my career. Now that I've got your attention and you're ready to get started, these are the things that you need to know. First and foremost, I feel like you kind of need to define your why. Now, we already talked about money, and that's a big thing. Everybody knows travel nurses make money. There are tons of memes about it. Yes, I sleep in a pillow stuffed full of $100 bills. Just ask my wife. If it's not about the money, maybe you're like me and it's more about the adventure and the travel. In fact, take a look at this. I'll just pull it off the wall here. This is the map of everywhere that my family has been in the last 5 years of travel nursing. In fact, all these states up here in the New England area, I still haven't marked off yet. We were just there and came back to it. We're now all the way back in Arizona again. But man, that's what it's about for me, is the adventure and traveling around. I have got to visit more places all over the United States that I ever got to visit as a young man or a kid with my folks, because they just didn't have the opportunities, but now I do, and I take my family with me too. So that's my why. You need to figure out what your why is going to be. All right, once you figure that out, the next steps just kind of come in order. The first thing you need to do is get started with the compact. And what that is a series of states that have all joined together and said that nurses have a right to practice in all of these states if they have the right kind of license in their own state. So for example, if you have a multi-state license in Arizona, then you can work in any of the other states that recognize that license within the compact. There are a few holdouts still out there like California, Alaska, and there's a few others too, but for the most part, there are new ones that seem to be added every year to the compact. So that's a great bonus for all of us out there. Once you get your license established, you're going to need to figure out how you're going to go about traveling. And I mean housing-wise. Are you going to take housing in terms of, I'm going to look on Furnish Finder and find apartments or a house or maybe a room to rent, depending on how you're going to go about doing this. Or maybe, just because you're here with me, and you know that I've been traveling around all this in an RV with my family for the last 5 years, maybe you're going to do the RV gig like we did. I can tell you it's one of the best ways to do this. Finally, the agency is probably one of the most important components to this whole idea. And that's where you want to find a really good group of people to work with to help you nail those jobs down that you're looking for. Now, I already talked about Atlas in the beginning. I'm just going to recommend them above everybody else. I have worked with them exclusively for the last 5 years now, Atlas MedStaff. It is a fantastic agency run by really great people who actually care about their own nurses and their own staff, and it is evident in all of their day-to-day workings. I can't say enough about them. They will do things like help you with what's called compliance. And most nurses go through this kind of stuff whenever they start a job at a hospital. That's things like making sure that your license is real. You know, they're going to verify it. They want to make sure that the diploma, wherever you graduated from nursing school, was a real place. They're going to make sure all of your immunizations and your shots and all that stuff is up to date. Make sure that your physical is done. They're also going to do background checks on you, which is something that is required for travel nurses for every single contract that they take. So the nice thing about working with an agency like Atlas is that it's all done for you, kind of behind the scenes by a whole team of experts that do that. All your job's going to be is to show up to the appointments with the stuff in hand. You don't even have to pay for it. That's all covered by them. Not all agencies do that. There are some out there where you're responsible for making your own appointments and paying for them and making sure all of the stuff gets sent to the right places. That's just one thing that I love about Atlas MedStaff is that I don't have to worry about it. If you want some extra tips on how you might be able to elevate yourself in terms of nailing that contract down, I would suggest to do something like subspecialize as far as you can. If you're an ICU nurse like me, get trained in things specifically like trauma or burn units or I don't know, like all the little specialty things. Become a CVICU nurse. I'm glad you were here and I'm glad we had this talk. If you want a little bit more help, feel free to reach out to me. Just send me an email, reach out to me at noordinarypath@gmail.com. I'll help you out. I'll even give you my recruiter's own personal information. This is a great time to get into this industry. There are so many other things that I can tell you about. I just do not have enough time in a single video. Go to noordinarypath.com/travel nursing. And there's a whole Q&A list there of other videos I've made in the past that'll answer your questions about travel nursing and getting started. It is a fantastic resource. And if you're like me and you're interested in doing the RV thing, even with your family, which is totally a possibility, there are lots of other resources on that website. Please check it out. Thank you for being here. Leave the video a thumbs up. That helps the algorithm a lot, pushes it out to other people. And I hope to see you out there.